Welcome, Erin. How are you doing
afternoon.
today?
Good.
Great, great. So I'm Jeremiah, so I'm the
Nice to meet
manager
you.
for this department. Very, very nice to meet you as well. So I think we're going to go ahead and get into this interview, but before we do that, there's a few things that I just want to make sure that you're aware of.
Okay.
First of all, if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to just jump in with those questions. Otherwise, if you want to, save them to the end, and I'll do my best to answer them at that point as
Okay.
well. I will be writing down some of your responses to the questions, mostly because I want to remember everything that you say when I make my selection and offer so that I get the best candidate to care for our patients here, okay?
Okay.
All right, so my first question really is in regards to our culture here. As you may or may not be aware, our culture here really is about, well, love plus medicine. And it really is about that high quality, excellent care that we've come to be known to give. But aside from that, something that we find unique about our specific culture is that the heart of what we do, which is really that loving and caring and compassion that we're able to extend to our communities, patients, and families.
Okay.
So in regards to that, I'm just wondering if you've ever been in a situation before where you've had to show this type of compassion, to really put yourself out there for another person. And what did that situation look like? And how did you respond to that? What did you do exactly? And what was the result to it?
Okay. I actually can think of something that happened last week at work. It was late afternoon in the clinic, and one of our last patients for the day came out of the exam room and actually took a seat again in the waiting room, and she looked visibly upset. There was no one there waiting for her, and she was kind of rooting through her purse, and I got the impression that she needed some assistance. So I approached her and asked if she needed any help, and she actually broke down and started to cry and had said she received some bad news at her visit and was expecting that her daughter would be there waiting for her in the waiting room when she finished with her appointment, but when she wasn't there, it really caused her concern. Number one, how was she going to get home from this appointment? And she was also concerned that maybe something had happened to her daughter. So I offered to let her use our telephone to try to reach her daughter and see if she was still going to be able to pick her up. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get a hold of her daughter, and so I suggested either I could call her a cab, or did she have any neighbors or other family members that would be able to give her a ride home. So she asked that I give her neighbor a call. We used the directory to look up the person's phone number because she didn't know that, and she didn't have a cell phone. So we were able to fortunately reach her next door neighbor who was willing to come pick her up. So I gave the neighbor directions. The person wasn't very familiar with our organization. And so once we came up with that plan, I got the patient some coffee and some tissues, and she was able to kind of get herself put back together. And I walked her downstairs and introduced her to one of the patient attendants that was at the front door and explained the situation to kind of be on the lookout for this neighbor who might not know exactly where the patient would be waiting. And the woman was just so relieved and so thankful that we took the time to help her find a way home as it was starting to get dark. And so I didn't really think much about it. I would do this for any patient that looked like they needed help, but I did hear from my supervisor a couple of days afterwards that the patient had actually sent a note to our department specifically mentioning me and thanking me for taking the time to help her get home safely that evening.
Oh, that's a great story, actually. I guess my follow-up question would be to that, when you received that feedback from your supervisor about what you did, how did that make you feel? And how do you think those feelings kind of drive you from day to day in how you perform and what you do for your patients?
Sure. Well, I mean, honestly, naturally, I was surprised at first because, I just thought that's really part of my job, and I enjoy helping people. But it does serve as a motivator for me to continue to always be looking for opportunities to serve patients better, to put them at ease when they're in a healthcare situation. It can be an anxiety-provoking situation for them. So I was glad I was there that day and was able to help her.
Well, thank you for that answer. I guess my next question that we'll move into now is more related to communication, which is a huge pillar of what we do here as well.